Jabronis, we're back. First solo episode in a while. Been banging out these guest spot hitters for the past several weeks now. What has it been? 1, 2, 3 straight weeks of guests. We almost had a fourth. But missed the opportunity. Scheduling conflict happens. We'll get that guest on eventually. But hope you guys are enjoying or had a good week, an enjoyable week. Mine was pretty decent. Work is hectic, busy as usual, but you get through it. And we'll talk about this in the junction a little bit on getting through it, finding happiness, escapes, what have you. But we'll get into that. Real quick though, I just saw this commercial again. This is the rookie mistake I made, was watching TV at all. But there's this commercial. Have you guys heard of Sling TV? I think it's called Sling TV. I don't know if it's like cable. It's like a la carte, pick your own streaming like options or cable options or whatever. Instead of just getting standard cable packages for hundreds of dollars for nothing, this lets you pick. So for $2 a month, you get 2 channels. Or I don't know what the deal is, but there's this commercial out there, and I'm putting Sling on notice because I know they listen to this show, and I'm putting the Sling organization on, whoever runs them, I'm putting them on notice. They had this commercial out. I'll set the scene. It's in some restaurant, diner, podunk, family-looking joint. Right up my alley, by the way. Right up my alley. Like booths, waiters and waitresses wearing, little paper hats and what have yous. That's my speed right there. Diners for days. Anyway, they're in my wheelhouse. And this old lady, I don't remember if she falls or if she's choking on food or what it was, but she's down on the ground on her back. All of a sudden, this other chick comes out of nowhere and says something like, it's okay. I got this. I'll take care of her. And they ask, like, are you a medical professional? She goes, no, but I just subscribed to Sling TV. So I've been watching a lot of medical shows and whatever. This is what's on notice. Sling, talking to you now. We know this bit. This is the Holiday Inn Express commercial campaign, the marketing campaign they had. We know it already. We need a doctor in the house. I'm not a doctor. Are you a doctor? No, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express. That's the bit. Sling just completely plagiarized the campaign, the entire bit. It was the same script even. I'm pretty sure Sling just went to the dumpsters of Holiday Inn Expresses, wherever their big Holiday Inn like corporate headquarters is, and snagged the script and just did a couple cross-outs, added Sling and some other minor changes in there, and just repurposed it years later. That's a very well-known bit. People have joked about it, and terribly, mind you, about being, staying at a Holiday Inn Express in real life. You hear it all the time. People still, what are you, a doctor? What are you, a professional? No, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express. You hate those guys at work. You know those types at work that kill the jokes, that beat the dead horse joke to death. So there's still those lying around slinging the Holiday Inn Express jokes, no pun intended. But seriously, they didn't even try to hide it or change things up much at all. They had no shame in their complete plagiarism of the entire script, the entire campaign. It was almost to the T. In fact, somebody should match up scripts, find an old Holiday Inn Express commercial by someone. I probably mean me, because nobody else seems to give a shit about it, and marry up the scripts and see what's different. The only thing that's different is the name of the company that they quote unquote are a part of. No, I'm not a doctor, but I stayed at Holiday Inn Express, but I subscribed to Sling Cable. It wasn't even like close to switching it up or being creative or whatever. The only thing that they did do is after they slung the line, after they threw out the plagiarized script line, the tagline, if you will, they tried to add on. They tried to make it funny, but it bombed. It did not land. They added on some stupid like extra dialogue from this lady from the actor, and absolute trash. Bottom line, they're on notice. Sling, you're on notice. You can clip this. We know what you're up to. Very transparent. It's not even close to trying. You're not even close to trying. You just took the same script. I don't know what that means for your organization. Do you do that with your business, with your cable service? So you just copy and paste in the same bullshit cable service that everybody else has been slinging for decades, that people are getting away from, and you're just hiding it under this mask, this facade, if you will, of quality cable options for cheap? Is that what's going on here? Is your whole operation a facade, a plagiarized script? Give me a break. Anyway, that's that. Saw that commercial. I just wanted it out there. I wanted somebody to say something about it, and apparently it's just me. Speaking of saying something, I already discussed this, my rage and anger already, but I mean, the New York Yankees and the New York Giants are as embarrassing as ever. The wild card game from a couple weeks ago between the Yanks and the Red Sox, they did not even show up for. Brett Gardner, the $4 million man. Weeks prior to that, they had an embarrassing loss, shocker, and he's like, we got to be better. We got to show up and compete. He had the least competitive game of everybody. The only person who had a less competitive game was Gary Sanchez. That's because his fat, stupid ass was on the bench. And I say that in the nicest, most joking way possible because I'm sure Gary's a nice fella. Don't know anything about him, but I hate him in the baseball world, and I'm going to dog on him for it. But Brett Gardner went 0 for 3 with 3 embarrassing strikeouts. Strikeouts I haven't seen since I hit the diamond back in the day with Crazy Carol filming and screaming at me for sucking it up on the field, yelling at the coach to kick me off the team. It was worse than that. And he's getting paid $4 million for that. Meanwhile, after the crushing embarrassment that was the Yankees season this year, they clean house with all the unimportant coaches, like they're making these sweeping changes. Oh, they got rid of their first base coach and their third base coach, the least important entities on the team, mind you. But they're keeping Aaron Boone, signed him for another 3 years. 3-year extension for Aaron Boone. He has nothing to show for it. In fact, he's the first coach in Yankees history, because I know all you guys are following Yankees history. He's the first coach, the first manager to be coaching now. He will have his 5th year coming up, be coaching for 5 years without reaching or winning a World Series in the previous 4 years, the first 4 years. He's the first coach ever, which makes you think a little bit. If you want to go down the road, the tinfoil road, what does he got on Cashman, the GM? What does he got on Brian Cashman? What does he have on Hal Steinbrenner of the Steinbrenner Empire? I'm convinced him and Brett Gardner are hiding pictures, dirty pictures of old George Steinbrenner or somebody doing stuff with kids or doing inappropriate shit. I don't know what it is. They got receipts. They got dirt, and that's why they're keeping him around. There's no other logical reason why you would keep around Brett Gardner with his giant steroids head and his zero athletic ability whatsoever and pay him $4 million to suck to do that. Now, I don't think Gary Sanchez is in that same boat because they've been talking about getting rid of him ever since they signed him. So I don't think he's got dirt. I just think he just keeps fooling people into thinking he's going to work hard and try and be actual good player in baseball. I don't see that happening. But if they keep him, I mean, I might be off the pinstripes for a long time. They might be on pinstripe suspension because holy crap, do they got to get their shit together. Their coaching staff is abysmal and embarrassing. Their players were completely disappointing. Their GM and their upper staff administration, total garbage. They got to get it together. And speaking of getting it together, hello. The New York Giants continue to embarrass and sully the reputation of any New York sports in the history of New York sports. I mean, they're not even trying anymore. They're like the Sling Cable of NFL football. They're just going into the dumpster, finding jerseys from a team that used to be good and just putting them on and just walking on the field like they actually know how to play. That entire staff needs to be completely wiped. You want to talk about wiping staffs? New York Giants from top to bottom. Absolute trash. In fact, I feel bad for Joe Judge, the head coach, because I don't think he's a bad coach. In fact, there have been several times where you see him on screen during a game telling the defense and the team what to expect, what's coming. Watch for the fake. He's telling them. He's giving them the answers to the test ahead of time, and these stupid, dumb bastards are still failing miserably. He told them there was a fake coming. Watch the fake punt. Here it comes. Fake punt comes, first down. The other team just blows right by him. Absolutely despicable, embarrassing. Their medical trainer, I don't know what the hell he's doing. Everybody on the team is injured. Every week is a new injury. He's got to be 100 years old, this poor bastard. He needs a trainer for himself just to get up in the morning, and he's expected to train these supposed athletes? Give me a break. I can't even talk about them anymore because it just gets me so angry, which is crazy to me because they're just a team. I have no personal affiliation to them, nothing whatsoever. So I don't know why I get so heated. Maybe it's because these people are getting paid millions of dollars to do a job and they're not doing a job, but there's no accountability. Nobody's getting fired, nothing. Benched, penalized, nothing. They're getting paid hand over fist to shove their thumbs up their asses and dance around in a costume once a week. I'd kill for that job. In fact, I'm going to try out for the team. I could try for any position, clearly, because they all suck. I feel bad for Daniel Jones. He's decent. Saquon Barkley, that poor bastard's injured every day now because he's literally carrying the team. And the other team, too, when they jump on him. Unbelievable. Anyway, let's get to more, positive, happy thoughts, if you will. That's the theme of the day. It's not me bitching. The theme of the day is happiness and escaping the dregs of your regular daily lives to begin with. So maybe we shouldn't harp on these, Libretti. Maybe I need to do better at that. And I know I do. But before we do that, before we hit the junction, you know what we got to do. We'll step into the cage.
Okay, let's run.
All right. Today's Into the Cage segment is proudly sponsored by Your Mom brand uterine wall protectors. Are you tired of bringing home a strapping fella from the bar and having to worry about your uterine wall being vulnerable to attack? Well, fear no more. With a YMUWP, you'll get the 24/7 layered security you crave to ensure you're always protected against those dastardly semen intruders. So to get your uterine wall protection today, visit www.seamshield.com and use the promo code NOKIDS for 6% off your first UWP. When someone asks who protects your uterine wall, now you can tell them your mom does. What are we doing here, folks? Somebody sponsor this show already. These are getting out of hand, completely out of hand. It's a goddamn circus act. All right, cage fact today. I did a little bit of digging on some fun Con Air facts because Con Air is a popular cage classic, action-packed film. He plays a very realistic character of being a Army Ranger, war veteran, Green Beret, what have you, who happens to kill a guy with his bare hands, and now he's in jail because his hands are considered deadly weapons. Very realistic. Happens all the time. In the movie, there is a pretty well-known scene with Diamond Dog, one of the bad characters, is stealing. He found this box of Nick Cage is stuffing the plane in the Con Air, and he sees a bunny, a doll, a plushie, if you will, of this rabbit, and he was going to give it to his daughter when he got free and sees her when he goes on parole. And there's that famous line, "Put the bunny back in the box." That's a classic Cage line that will go down in the annals of history. That idea for that whole little premise of the bunny for the daughter and the whole story behind it was Nick Cage's original idea. He wanted the character to show the audience that although this character was in prison for literally killing a human being with his bare hands, he was not a bad guy. He was just defending himself, and he does have that vulnerability like normal human beings do, and not like the sociopaths that he was with on the plane. So completely his idea. That entire scene, it ends up, it's a famous quote now. Like people quote it all the time. There's a lot of different Nick Cage quotes out there, but one of the more memorable ones, besides, "I could eat a peach for hours," that's probably a top 2 quote. "Put the bunny back in the box" is up there for sure. Top 10, top 5, definitely. So that's the Cage fact. Real quick one. There's some more Con Air facts, by the way, related to Cage. Shocker. But we'll be saving those for later. We will kind of, sneak those into the show as we keep going on different episodes. I got to keep the Into the Cage segment alive and thriving. So stand by for that. But we'll just move on to the junction, spin the logo up. I don't have too much to say. I say that, I know, every single time. But, like I said, I take notes. I try to keep it short and sweet. Give you guys some life lessons, whether from my experience, my mistakes, or what have you, so that you can grow to be better people in your lives, because that's what we're here for. I'm here for you, not here for me. I'm here for me. I like learning about this shit, and that's why I started this whole podcast for me, but it's for you. What I wanted to talk about, though, briefly is something that actually I ended up having a phone call right before I started recording this episode with an old brother in arms, old roommate who's also in the military, the dog. He's a new character. I haven't talked about him previously, but the dog called me to catch up on things, and we started talking about, what's our careers and what's going on with our lives, and we kind of necked down to talking about kind of what is making us really happy in our lives and how can we get more of that. And that's kind of what we were discussing. What I wanted to discuss anyway is sort of finding your escape and finding the one thing or several things in your life that provide you actual joy and happiness, and you have a passion for outside of your careers and the daily stresses of life. Because let's be honest, the majority of people out there, unfortunately, are in their careers to pay bills. They're not in there because they are passionate about the job at hand, or that's their dream, or what they've always wanted to do. It's a 9-to-5. It's a means to an end. It's the only reason is to pay the bill so that they can provide for themselves, their families, whatever. Unfortunately, that's the case. Not many people these days are happy in their jobs. There are some. I'm generalizing here, of course, but there's not a lot of people that are. You can ask them and be like, "Oh, one of my greatest passions is my career right now. It's really amazing." Not a lot of people. Anyway, so we try to find that escape. You want to find that escape, and I was on one of my training runs. I'm still training for the Rocky Run. Me and Nikki Sticks are still training for that run, the half marathon coming up a couple weeks in November. So be on the lookout for that. We'll do some. We'll probably schedule a post-race Instagram live to give you the results. But anyway, we're training for that. And on one of my longer runs over the weekend, I see these two guys. Now, mind you, I'm always in my head, like overthinking, stressing about shit. Just, I guess, being a normal person in that regard, how people are. They just overthink things. They stress about little things in life. They get kind of bogged down by the negative of the day. So I'm on my run. I'm kind of just thinking through things, talking to myself. I don't think a lot of, I don't think much, but when I do think, it's about little stressors and how I can better myself and get away from those stressors. Anyway, I'm running in the woods. There's like a hiking path or walking path that I run. Talked about this already. And I see these two older dudes, probably, I want to say maybe 50s, 60s. Likely friends. They were likely friends. Could have been brothers, possibly lovers. I couldn't get a complete gauge. And the reason why is because these two gentlemen were sitting on this bench. They both had notebooks, so just like mine, or they were like really like sketch pads, I guess we can call them. And they're looking just straight ahead at the scenery, and they're drawing and sketching out the landscape in this wooded area. It's a nice little area. There's a creek that is kind of runs adjacent to the path. There's a little walking bridge. It's nice. It's a nice little area. And these two bastards are sitting there intently drawing this scenery in front of them. And the one thing that you can immediately notice, because they're silent. They're not talking to each other, not looking at each other. They're not touching each other. There's no indication of, anything between them going on besides their goal of drawing this scenery. But you can tell immediately just by looking at their expressions on their faces and their body language while they were drawing was that they were happy. They were silent, and they were definitely dedicated to getting this drawing done, and getting the landscape. They were really in the zone. And that look, what that looks like when someone's really in the zone. But they had that look of like passion and determination to really get this done right or do the best job they can. And it was those looks that they were each sharing or portraying that you can tell that they were, this is something that they're passionate about. They want to do, they enjoy doing this. This is their escape. They looked like kids playing when you're young and you're playing, you got your tongue sticking out and you just I'm really into this thing. I'm playing GI Joes. When I was younger, I used to play war a lot. Got really into it, and you're just like, you're in the zone, but you're in this happy zone. Not like at work where you get into the zone to get your shit done before you got to clock out. It was different. There's not a good way to describe it, but you know it when you see it. It was like pornos. I could tell immediately these guys were happy and they were doing something they were both passionate about, and they were taking the time out of their normal daily lives to do that. And it reminded me, it was like when I was a kid doing something I was passionate about. War, putting model, airplanes together. I used to love putting models together and then putting the decals on and trying to hang them up on the wall and make them look like they're flying and stuff like that. It looked like a lot like back in the day when my brother, back when he was Nicky Thicks, when he would get a fresh bacon cheeseburger and just, get ready to just really do work on it. You had that look of like just pure joy and passion and dedication to whatever that goal was. And you could see it immediately in these guys. And it really started making me think. I still had 4 miles left on this damn run, so I had a lot of thinking time left. It made me think of how often do I and do we really, at that time, it was more introspective. Like, how often do I find myself in that state of happiness and joy and escape from my life? How often does it happen per day, per week, ever? How often does that happen where I'm in a zone somewhere, not worrying about the stressors, the work bullshit, family bullshit, personal relationship bullshit, whatever it might be, and I can just escape into something that I'm passionate about and I really enjoy? And the answer is not enough. And I think that's the answer for a lot of us out there, which is why I wanted to bring this up, bring a little bit of awareness to it, is because, A, we don't find ourselves doing that often. being in that state of joy and passion for something. And B, we don't even think about it enough. Because if you don't think about it, it's less likely that you're going to put yourself in that position. You're going to go take on that hobby or go for that run or whatever it is that brings you joy and happiness. Spend time with your family, movie night with the family, whatever it might be. It's far less likely to do something if you're not even thinking about it to begin with. So just the state of thinking about it, I realized it was not enough for me. Let alone not even enough of me actually doing something I'm passionate about or doing that hobby that I really enjoy, like woodworking. Luckily, podcasting is one of these things that I find myself in weekly that I actually enjoy doing and I'm passionate about learning and editing and doing all that shit. But it's just not enough. We get so bogged down with our daily lives and what we think is important sometimes. Work. We spend the majority of our lives working. And we try to convince ourselves every day. We lie to ourselves in the mirror. Today's going to be a good day. I love my job. Everything's great. You're going to go to your job. You're going to punch in. You're going to do your job. Well, and I know most of you guys are working your asses off at work. And you're doing good things for your job and your career because you know it's good for yourselves and your family, financially, security-wise, whatever. But we also know that the majority of us were not happy in those. These are not our passions. I'm not podcasting for a living. I'm not playing sports for a living. I'm not doing woodwork for a living. I'm not getting to spend time with my friends and family and to take care of them for a living. I'm doing military things. Now, I love the military. Don't get me wrong. And there's a lot of times where I find myself very passionate about specifically what I'm doing in a particular mission or task or what have you. But generally speaking, if I got the freedom to actually pick, which technically I do, still in America here, it would not be that anymore. That's a separate conversation about my life goals and plans, but the bottom line here is we got to find our escape. We got to be like those two guys taking the time out of their days to go do something they're both passionate about. And they can share that as friends or as lovers or whatever the hell they were together. And they can enjoy the company of each other in silence and in dedication to doing something they're passionate about and they truly enjoy. And it was an immediate, like, known thing. As soon as I saw them, I knew immediately these guys are in their element. They're in the zone. They are happy about what they're doing. There's something they're passionate about. You can feel it almost. And as I'm thinking about this, because my mental instability, I get way too in my own head, especially when I'm working out or on a run because I'm not listening to music usually. I'm just talking to myself like a psychopath, thinking to myself. So I'm getting in my own head and starting to get too serious about this introspective thinking. And all of a sudden, this old lady, I'm at the end of my run in another park right by the house here, right at the LPDS compound. And this lady is 200 years old. 200 years old. That's not even an exaggeration. Her skin was falling off of her bones because it's been dead for decades. She's a Civil War veteran, found a way to stay alive, 200 years old. And I'm not trying to drag this old broad, but holy crap, good for her. She found the fountain of youth or something, or the fountain of immortality, because she was not looking youthful. However, she's out there on a walk. She's got a walker taller than her. This is not one of like a special walker or anything that would explain the size of this thing. This looked like if you had a normal walker, the walker that people have the tennis balls on the front of, and they're just doing the click, 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 click when they walk. It's that walker. That same thing, now triple the size of it. Like they got it at Bugs Bunny's Acme warehouse. It was a cartoon-sized walker, like a prop. She's holding it, and if you see in YouTubeville, she's holding it over her head like this. It's legitimately like the top bracket of the walker, where sometimes they hold baskets on there. They hang baskets so they can put their like Pekino tiles and such in there. It's eye level with her. Okay, giant walker. It's got some wheels. She didn't need the tennis balls. 200 years old. Walking with her, probably great grandson. Civil War veteran. Walking out in the park. She telling us we start having a conversation. I finished my run. I couldn't not talk to her. How often are you going to get the chance to talk to a live Civil War veteran? You bet your ass I'm talking to this lady. I find out how her day is going. She said, the first thing she said to me was, I'm so glad to see another person taking advantage of this beautiful day. Because I was out there running, doing my thing, which, again, made me immediately go back into my own stupid brain and kind of think about that statement for a second of like, holy shit, why aren't more people doing this? Why aren't more people getting out there and enjoying the day? Kind of going back, like, why aren't more people trying to find that escape into their happiness, into their passion? And she just hit the nail on the head again. Like, I'm so glad to see somebody else taking advantage of this. So I, find out how she's doing. She does these walks. So come to find out, she walks on a regular basis every weekend she can when the weather's nice, anytime, any chance she gets. Now, I had to leave. I didn't get a chance to find out her actual age. 210, maybe she's 212, probably. If I were to venture a realistic guess, skin was dead. It was like an old catcher's glove that was left out in the sun for 200 years. It was Babe Ruth's glove, Honus Wagner's glove. Skin was dead. She was a veteran. Probably for the North, the winning team. If I were to venture a guess, she had a bit of an accent that suggested a Northeast flavor, potentially. But she's out there and she's happy. Now, I don't know what it is about old people, old probable war veterans, walking around and running around my neighborhood, taking advantage of life. But let me tell you something. It's fucking inspiring. Sorry, T, family show. To see these people out there getting after it and finding that escape, continuing to find that escape. That's probably why she's been around for 200 plus years. Because she found the way to actively find her escape on a regular basis and do things she enjoys and she's passionate about. And not sweat the small stuff and not get bogged down and engulfed by the bullshit. And that's what we're trying to relay today. And the LPDS lesson here in the junction is we should start, if you haven't already, thinking about how you can do that on a more regular basis, or how much you're doing it currently and trying to increase that. Because I'll beat this dead horse to death, and you heard me say it 1,000 times, and I'll say it 1,000 more. But you're never going to be on your deathbed ever thinking, man, I should have worked more. I should have spent more hours in the office and less time with my family and doing things I love and enjoy. You're never going to see that. Not even Scrooge. Ebenezer Scrooge said that. And he was, the biggest workaholic out there. So think about that. Think about how often you find yourself in the zone of passion and enjoyment, doing something you love, being with people you love. And then think about why you don't do it more often. And then think about how you can do it more often. And then do it more often. Baby steps here, folks. But find that escape. Find that bench you can draw Find that walker that you can hang on to for 200 years, enjoying a nice day out in a park. Find that bacon cheeseburger that you can devour in the model airplanes and the G.I. Joes that you could play with. Find that passion, that thing that lights you up inside, whatever it is, and try to do it more often. Life is too short to not maximize your happiness and enjoyment. It's just too short. And you never know, and I'll say this 1,000 times too, you never know when it's going to be gone. You never know when it's going to be lights out. When Thanos is going to come in and snap his fingers and we're going to be wiped. You never know. And you could say like, oh, the probabilities are low. Like I still got to work. I got to do this. Got it. Whatever. But at least start the conversation in your head. Start the thought process of getting to a point where you're able to regularly enjoy your lives. Find the escape. Imagine how great it would be if you could do that every day, even if it was just for like an hour or two a day. Maybe you're lucky your family is your escape. You get to go home and spend time with your spouse and kids, dog maybe. Love dogs. You know me and dogs. You find that escape there, and you could do it every day, and it's great. Maybe you're one of the few that actually their job is their escape. That's awesome. Keep up the good work. But for the majority of us, I don't think that's the case. So we got to step back. You know how we love to step back here at the LPDS and take that look, be aware of our surroundings, both physically, like literally, and mentally, emotionally, understand the situation, take that step back and see where you can tap into that enjoyment more. Find that escape on a more regular daily basis even. You'll feel better about yourselves. Nobody ever gets done doing something they're passionate about and is like, man, I regret doing that. Nobody. You always feel better after. You always do. There's not one time you're doing something you're passionate about and you love and enjoy that makes you happy and you're like, screw this. Didn't work out this time. Never, because you love it. Even if something doesn't work, I like when I'm editing an episode, or if I was on the baseball field or a soccer field and I dicked something up, I messed up a recording like I did last week. I made some errors in the editing. I didn't sit there and be like, fuck this. I'm done. I'm quitting. This sucks. No, because I love this. I love what I'm doing here. You're never going to feel bad about doing what you love more often. You never are. So think about that. And then let's tie that into the big three. Because the big three is the foundation, the pillars of being a better, less stressed, happier person in general. So exercise every day, number one. Simple. Go for a walk. Go walk in the park on your walker. Go for a run. Anything. Jumping jacks, whatever. Get the wheels in motion. Get it going. And you'll feel better about yourselves. Number two, don't be a shitty person. You want to be happier with yourself and have a less stressed, less negative focused life. Don't be a shitty person to other people. Then you won't even be in that mind space, that brain space of negativity and shittiness, which will always lead to, or more often than not, lead you to be angrier and more negative in general because you put yourself in that world to be a legitimate shitty person. And again, to reiterate, I'm not talking about shit talking and joking with friends or doing little jokey trolls about things. I'm talking about being a shitty person, taking those jabs, really trying to stick it to somebody just to be an asshole to them because you don't like them or you think they're bad or whatever it might be, just don't do it. Go get a hobby. Go get a passion you enjoy and do that. Change your mindset. Change your culture, your environment to something more positive. Don't be shitty. And number 3, the most important, to keep you in that constant state of happiness and positive thinking is to be genuinely thankful and grateful for all the good you have in your life. To be thankful for those times you get to escape into your joy, into what you're passionate about. And that could be anything. Let me tell you something. This is going to sound nerdy and stupid. I don't even give a shit anymore. I downloaded a video game a couple months ago, a game that I haven't played in a decade, I'd say. Just so I can play with my friends online and we can talk on a regular basis and shit talk each other and make jokes and can stay apprised of each other's lives, find out how each person's doing, how their families are doing, what's going on in their lives. Shit talk the Yankees together, whatever it is, just to be part of their lives again. Creature, the Wet Cat, other cast of characters in there that we stopped playing regularly when we left college and separated. Because we used to hit the sticks pretty hard in college, like you heard on the episode I did with Creature. We used to play on a regular basis. This was in-person playing, though, so this is a little different. It's online. We're not physically in the same room. But let me tell you, since that time, my happiness level and positivity has skyrocketed. To be able to know that on a daily basis, I can get home from work. It could be a shitty day at work. I can have a shitty workout that day, whatever it might be. Something bad happened in the personal life, whatever it is. And I know that as soon as I get that headset on and we hit the sticks, that I'm gonna be in the zone of something I enjoy with the people I enjoy it with. And I'm grateful for that. And that makes me feel like a better, happier person. Same thing when I'm hanging out with my other brothers, Bone Crusher, Sticks, Bonji, everybody. Those are the little escapes that I'm grateful for. Genuinely. And that's what you guys should be focusing on as well, is identifying those escapes and being grateful for when you get them, because that's what's that whole mindset, that environment you're creating, that culture you're creating for yourself by following the big 3 is going to get you to that level of more constant, regular happiness and positivity and less stress and less negativity. And that's all I got today, guys. That's it. Don't know how long that was. Probably way longer than I thought it was going to be, but that's it. Thank you guys for listening. Don't forget, like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your mom, everybody. Follow this stuff. Spread the good word. Go watch the other episodes. There were some great guest episodes that you guys, if you haven't, you got to go check out. We had Sorry Terrence on, for crying out loud. One of the all-time top 10, top-tier characters in the LPDS universe. Go check it out. Carrie, the Instagram fame celebrity. Go check her episode out. Wild stuff. And we got more coming. Okay, so stay tuned. So tell everybody you know. But thank you again. I love you all. Stay strong.